Hi Pisces, this is your forecast for the month of September 2018. This is a general reading for Pisces Sun, Pisces Rising, or Pisces Moon. For a more rounded overview, please watch your rising and moon sign as well. So Pisces, the first week you have the Queen of Cups. This is water energy. It could very well be you. It could be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female, or just the traits of this queen. And this is a week that may focus on the mother figure. Could be you as a mother, your mother, could be a devoted wife, could be somebody in a healing capacity, a nurse, a doctor, a social worker, could be somebody who's just very caring, very emotional, very intellectual, perhaps creative or artistic. Whoever this is a week that focuses on feelings, feeling deeply, being emotionally passionate, and perhaps loyalty. It could also be that this is somebody who is very easily influenced, perhaps empathic, and so they're very open to the energy of other people. Again, this could be someone creative. This could be an artist, somebody who is, visionary. They have a dream, or their imagination is very active. Maybe they're a poet or a painter. Maybe they're a muse for someone else. Or perhaps this is a healer, like a therapist or some kind of medical assistant. So whatever this is, you are focused on nurturing, sensitivity, creativity, perhaps dealing with something mysterious, the psychology behind events. And so this could be a week that focuses on your fondness for home, for family, for the things that you care about. And in some cases, heightened psychic awareness. And so this is a week where either you or someone else is creating the foundation for harmony or some kind of dissension within the group. And whatever is going on, you're going to want to get control of a situation or obtain control of a situation or people that you feel are connected to your sense of stability. They make you feel safe, nurtured, protected. And so this is an energy of being receptive. Now, for some of you, this may represent your ideal feminine. This is somebody who epitomizes femininity to others. And she's very easy to project onto. She may be a good listener. She may be very warm. And yet there's something about her that is mysterious, that is enigmatic. She's difficult to know. And so you may be tempted to simply fill in the blanks. She could also be very, somewhat passive aggressive. She may not directly assert herself. And so she may have a tendency toward other forms of assertion, perhaps manipulation. She may induce guilt. She may enable. She may be a martyr. She may sacrifice herself. In the positive, she touches other people deeply. She gives of herself, and she doesn't have anything selfish behind that. And so she may be someone that you feel very drawn to. There's a magnetism that she possesses, and again, she could be your ideal. You may be infatuated, obsessed. She could be the love of your life, or someone very important to you, and someone who influences your life in a positive way. And she may, given what she offers, she may inspire you to change your approach to life or to circumstances or to your emotions. And, this could be a week where through either someone else or your own intuition, you may be getting some kind of breakthrough. Perhaps there's some sudden inspiration or insight. Something you're involved in takes off. For some of you, this is going to involve an unexpected visitor or some news. But in the negative, you may be dealing with issues of manipulation, where somebody is draining you. They are a psychic vampire. There's some guilt card playing. Somebody may be addicted to some kind of substance. This is the continuous victim. Could be somebody who's very self-centered, or somebody who is unfaithful, or perhaps they feel powerless. They are not able to fulfill their own expectations. Maybe they're overly emotional or unhappy, or there's a lack of passion. And so you could be dealing with something that's unreliable this week, where perhaps you've used some poor judgment. You've been gullible to a circumstance, or maybe you've been self-indulgent. There could be some indecision. Somebody may not be in control of their emotions, or they may be unrealistic or codependent. So you are having to look at reality, and whether somebody's living in a fantasy world, or you're involved in a situation with somebody where perhaps there's a fatal attraction. You may need to avoid some kind of impulsive behavior that is driven by emotions and not reflecting carefully before making a decision. You could be dealing with something where there are some disruptive forces taking place within your relationship. Now, the second week, you have the Queen of Swords. This is very different energy than the Queen of Cups. This is someone who's very analytical, very career-oriented. It could be a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female, or just the traits of this queen. So this may be, someone who is more distant, more aloof, more detached, more prone to thinking than being in touch with the heart. In fact, for her, love has to make sense. She's not looking for any BS because she's already experienced that back there, and she doesn't want to go through it again. So she makes her decisions based on perhaps some past disappointments, some hurt, betrayal, some kind of hardship, whether that is emotional, financial, or physical. And, she could be single, she could be widowed or divorced or separated. Maybe she doesn't have children. Maybe she's more focused on her career. This may be descriptive of the Queen of Cups. So this could be somebody who doesn't have an interest in a love life. They're focused on their career, their goals, maybe their ambitions. And so there's some detachment level. Now, this could also be somebody who is intellectual. They know a lot, and they're willing to share that information. This is somebody who is focused on making fair and balanced decisions. So for some of you, you are getting some advice. It could be emotional advice. It could be a therapist, a counselor. It could be an attorney who's giving you some advice, or it could be a doctor, somebody professional. And this would likely be somebody who is focusing on your rights. She's fighting on your behalf. She's trying to manipulate a situation to her advantage. So for some of you, this is a week that focuses on the intellectual capabilities. You're putting your will into focus, being perceptive about something so that you can make the right decision, being independent, being determined, or, standing up for yourself, or getting some good advice so that you can. Now, negatively, this is somebody who is misusing their speech or their intellect. There's a disregard of a situation. She can be bitchy. Maybe she's retaliating for something. And maybe she doesn't have a clear perspective. There's too much focus on the intellectual, and to the point of being narrow-minded. For some of you, this is going to be a week of bad news. Maybe there's some kind of loss, or somebody has been untruthful, or you feel lonely. So, you're having to deal with your emotions and the mind. And in some cases, there's a conflict between head and heart. Now, you may feel that you're very determined to win the affection of somebody, or win some kind of partnership or alliance. You want a person in your corner, on your side. And in the goal for that, you misrepresent yourself, or that happens to you. It could be that you simply connect because you both have a bad history. You both have bad luck. the last situation didn't work out, and you can understand. And maybe that's not the best basis or foundation for a partnership, or perhaps because this person understands your needs and what you've been through, perhaps this is the basis of a connection. For some of you, this has simply been about getting the conquest. You saw somebody that was the ideal, and you thought, hey, could I make that happen? And perhaps you went all out, and that was what it was all about, the feather in your cap, or vice versa. So again, you may be dealing with some kind of issue of betrayal, but this is a week where you're contemplating some things. You're taking stock. You're weighing your options. And again, you may be connecting to somebody who is less emotional, more objective about a situation, and they can clue you in, give you some information. In some cases, you need to protect your emotions, and so you're withdrawing. You're going to take a time out. Whatever it is, this is a week where you're going to use both your intellect and your intuition, and it's going to serve you well. You're going to be able to avert some kind of oncoming disaster or situation. You're going to know exactly what to do, and probably at the last minute, because this is a queen who uses her energy to either make war or make peace. Now, she may be somebody who, there's something may be going on behind your back. If you are the Queen of Cups, there could be some activity behind your back. Somebody is secretly working against you. There could be some underhanded manipulation, or somebody is a good talker. They know how, they're your enemy, and they are verbally skillful. And they may be twisting the facts to gain some advantage over you. Maybe they feel they were treated unfairly. There's some spiteful gossip taking place going on behind your back. Now, again, positively, you're going to be able to use your own awareness, your intuitive abilities to help overcome something, some disastrous situation, some kind of problematic occurrence, and it's going to happen at the last moment. Now, the third week, there's some confusion. Now, perhaps you are using your skills or getting some advice to cut through the confusion. If you are a creative person, you may be making decisions. You could be coming up with lots of ideas. You could be an artist, maybe a writer, a poet, a musician, and you're making some decisions. For others of you, perhaps you're trying to figure out your options. Could be romantic, could be business. Maybe you're trying to make a decision to purchase something, maybe a luxury item, some kind of goods. In other cases, this is a week where you may have your head in the clouds. Maybe there are too many options and you can't make a decision about what to do. There's some muddled thinking, maybe some wishful thinking. Maybe you're fantasizing or longing for something. It could be that, the Queen of Swords represented some kind of hardship. Perhaps you are under the weather. You're dealing with something where you're overwhelmed with your emotions, or you've been putting your energy into too many places and perhaps not getting the results that you want. Maybe you're unorganized, or your thinking is not clear. There's some erroneous perceptions about something. It could also be that there's difficulty making that decision. You have a difficult choice to make, and there's some uncertainty about it. And maybe you're even operating under an illusion. So you could be impractical this week, and in some cases, there's some questionable choices being made. You may decide to escape. Maybe that's through sleeping or drugs or alcohol, or perhaps someone you're connected to is. So this could be a week where you find that your energy just dissipates. There's a lack of focus with regard to something. And you're unable to think clearly, and maybe you need to connect to somebody so that they can shed some light on something for you. Whatever it is, you're about to discover what your judgment is. Have you over or underestimated something or someone, for better or for worse? So you're going to have to reevaluate a situation, And it could be that, you're in a very tenuous position. Things are up in the air. And one thing going wrong could throw everything out of sorts, out of kilter. This is a week about making those good decisions to, prioritize what is most important and dealing with that first and moving downward. And if you do so, you may be surprised about the progress you make and, in fact, about how much time you have on your hands. So you could turn a losing situation into a smashing success if you're able to cut through the fog and recognize what is important. It may tie to getting some kind of guidance. Perhaps you're tapping into your intuition. In fact, this could be a week where you're getting some psychic impressions, and it's going to be important that you combine that with your intellect to arrive at answers. It may come in the form of a dream, some kind of synchronicity, some symbolism, and you'll have to be aware of that. Maybe this connects to your aspirations, some goal that you have. Could be creative, visionary, something that you're hoping to accomplish and bring into physical form what you have envisioned in your head. In other cases, you're having to face the truth of a situation where you've been unrealistic or where you haven't clearly seen a situation for what it is. Now, in some cases, you're going to have to make some decisions. Maybe you have to apologize to somebody, or maybe you're coming up with an excuse. Maybe you're going to have to stand in for somebody. Maybe that's taking on more responsibility at home or work or both. And this is also trying to, cut through a situation where there has been an illusion. Perhaps you were trying to paint a better circumstance than what actually exists, or you've been connecting to someone like that. They're trying to make something appear that everything is okay, everything's good, when that's the farthest thing from the truth. So this is about not denying the truth of a situation and dealing with issues, confronting things when you should, so that you can give yourself the time to enjoy life. Otherwise, you're going to be overwhelmed because you have too much going on. You're scattered in too many places, and it's difficult for you to make a choice, and you end up finding that you're behind the 8-ball continuously. And if you had taken the time to deal with something more realistically, you would have made better progress or gotten further ahead. So this is about, dealing with some kind of confusion, making some decisions. Now, the last week you have this 7 of Pentacles. So you're still taking stock. Maybe you're thinking about a dream you had, or some, you're trying to sort through some intuition, some psychic impressions, or how you feel about, or where you should direct your energy, or, the mystery connected to somebody. This is a week where you're making some plans. Maybe it's investing in something creative, something luxury oriented. Maybe it's about luxury goods, or whether you should get involved with something. Maybe you're trying to choose between two people, somebody that's a cup and somebody that's a sword, or you're conflicted within yourself. So this is about being patient, and this is a week that requires patience because you're likely to meet with some frustrating delays, and you may be confused about that, or somebody you're connected to. You may be waiting for some advice, and you're confused about having to wait. Or you're doing an assessment. Maybe you are judging something of beauty and seeing whether it, the merits of it has value. So there's some assessment taking place where you're looking for some kind of gain with what you've invested, and you're checking to see if that gain is forthcoming. For some of you, it comes with very little effort, but for others of you, you're going to have to take a direction change. Maybe you're looking at a project and you're waiting for results, or you invested in a relationship and nothing happened. There could be some kind of lull in the development, or again, you're making a choice between something risky and something that provides security for you. It could be that you've been putting in effort and your energy is just scattering. You're not getting the pay that you want or the recognition, or you feel like you wasted your effort, or something is missing from a situation. Maybe you didn't even pursue something. Maybe you turned your back on something that could have been profitable. But whatever it is, you're taking a closer look at a pursuit or a relationship and where you have been investing your time, your energy, your money, your emotions, and whether that's going to pay off for you. Maybe you gave up too soon, or maybe you made a poor investment. For some of you, maybe you're in a dead-end job, or a relationship that's going nowhere, or you're continuously worried about your finances. Maybe you've experienced a loss, or you missed an opportunity, or you're dealing with some kind of illness or infection, or just some anxieties where there have been no returns on your investments. And so you may be getting impatient. One thing that is likely to occur, you may gain more respect for another person. If you get some advice or you're able to gain some clarity, you may gain some respect for another person and where they stand. There are issues centered around love, generosity, being open-hearted, and whether you need to love yourself more, or whether it's possible to bring more love into your life. Maybe someone has turned their back on emotions and now they're just being analytical. They feel as if they can't invest anymore emotionally because of circumstances. It could be that you were investing and then, any kind of negativity that came at you, or resistance or confusion, even if it was a small thing, made you shut down, or the other person. It was the very last straw to a situation. Maybe you were involved with somebody that had a lot of options and you didn't want to be on the waiting list, or vice versa. It could be that somebody is holding on to something that they're angry or hurt about, and they are nursing their wounds, or that somebody is worrying disproportionate to the actual situation, especially if, some earning potential is in jeopardy. This could be a week that focuses on the land itself. For some of you, maybe you're making a mundane decision that connects to water credits, whether land has water on it, whether somebody is watering something too much, to produce a yield of something. So for some of you, this is about reconsidering, reevaluating where there's just been an illusion. You've been chasing after something and not getting anything back. Maybe you need to seriously consider, other ways of making money, additional income. Or if this is a relationship situation, you need to restructure certain aspects of your relationship. You may be making decisions where somebody's been overly whatever, and you decided, nope, that's it. I'm cutting that out. I can't deal with that anymore. Now, events are being driven by the King of Cups. Again, this could be your energy, or a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female. This could focus on the father figure, or being a father, or, just being emotionally stable. This could be somebody who is easy to talk to. Could be a professional, could be a trusted advisor, could be an ideal bachelor person, or, somebody who is in a helping profession. Again, a doctor, a judge, a lawyer, a counselor, somebody in negotiation, somebody who's creative, an artist of some sort, or just a good friend of yours. This is somebody that you trust, or perhaps you're playing that role. You're taking on some extra responsibilities. And this is a king who acts in your favor, in your interest. Somebody may be doing that for you, or you may be doing that for someone else. Because this is a month that centers around responsibility, giving good advice, negotiating, listening, and, tending toward old-fashioned values, offering support. So for some of you, this is about getting some help or decision, or where you felt emotionally cut off. Maybe you want to have a more personal or caring or supportive relationship. Maybe you care deeply for somebody, and maybe you have deeper feelings than you were aware of. Or maybe you have feelings for two people and you're not sure what to do about that. Maybe you are mutually attracted to somebody, and maybe you're coming off as cold or insincere or harsh, or they are, and yet there are feelings there. But in certain cases, things are so convoluted, so confused, so complicated that your relationship is no longer fulfilling. You're having to make some decisions, and maybe some bold decisions about your happiness, your sense of enjoyment, and it may require that you take a risk. You may need to put something out there, make something known, or given what you discover, you may need to tread lightly. Now, it could be that you've been given some bad advice, or somebody's in a power play. There's been some deception or fraud, or you found yourself tangled up in something and you were overwhelmed by it. Maybe there's some manipulation or some selfishness. Somebody is ruthless in their pursuits. Could have been somebody was sexually exploited, or there's some drug or alcohol abuse, or some dependency issues, or somebody's narcissistic. So you are dealing with emotional issues during this month. Now, you have no major cards. That is the good news. And in spite of whatever's going on, you are largely in control of a situation, whether you feel like that or not. Whatever's going on is something, even if it's frustrating, it's of passing consequence. You're trying to tie up some loose ends. You're doing an assessment of your relationships, your partnerships, your alliances, what you're putting into them and what you're getting out of them. So there's going to be something emotional and connected to your ambitions. Now, you have two queens in here, so this may relate to a friend, an acquaintance, a rival, or perhaps there are conflicting needs. Do I go with my head or my heart? A risk factor or something that is secure? And it's likely that, you have the King and the Queen of Cups together, so there's some kind of attraction. This may involve a couple. They could be well established or long term, could have to do with parents. And it could also mean that because there are two queens and a king, that there's a choice among lovers. There could be a competition going on for favors. Again, rivalry or jealousy, or perhaps simply multiple ways of acting or an attitude toward someone. Sometimes maybe you feel this is the running hot and cold. Somebody is giving a cue like, yeah, I want you, let's get together. And then the next time they're cold, they're aloof, they're not speaking. Maybe the person you're interested in is exhibiting that, or perhaps you are. So there could be some kind of frustration in different areas, and maybe it's tied to a conflict of interest. Again, there could be confusion about something. Maybe you're waiting for a divorce, or if you're ill, you're waiting for a diagnosis, or you're waiting for something to happen, or you're trying to make a choice. So you are cutting through something cloudy, something emotional. You're trying to make sense of how you feel and feel okay with how you feel. You may be involved in therapy, in counseling, or just talking through a situation to clear up some kind of uncertainty or misunderstanding, or some area of confusion in your life. You're trying to make sense of the past, and you may be dealing with other people's projections or your own unconscious projections. In some cases, there is an ability to think in cold, hard terms when other people are overwhelmed or grieving. And perhaps somebody is in the mix. There's an attempt to keep lovers apart. Now, your strength comes through flexibility, adaptability. You may be facing a long shot proposition, but sometimes you surprise yourself when you have no other choice. If you have no other choice but to adapt, you may be surprised at your ability to do so. Also, the use of intuition finds a solution to an impossible problem. You may be dealing with the psychic, or you may have some psychic development of your own. Perhaps you're acting as a mediator in the workplace, or you're being seen as a good listener, a wise counselor, or you're connecting to someone who is. All right, Pisces, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Don't forget to subscribe. You can always reach me on Instagram or at Patreon for extra perks, or on my blog for a daily post. And of course, you can always book a personal reading at thealchemistastrologer.com.